there's something that is coming across, and I want people to, use their own wisdom about this. But it's in relation to hydrogen, because just recently I went through a process of realizing that hydrogen could actually be consumed by the body. And there's a large amount of research of why hospitals should have had replaced oxygen tanks for hydrogen a long time ago because of what hydrogen does. But at the end of the day, I'll just say it like this. As an alchemist, I find it quite odd that number one on the periodic table was seemingly never examined, meaning hydrogen is number one on the periodic table. So you would think that we would all just start there, start studying that one, and then work our way down. I'm talking about in relation to science.
Right.
And to becoming as not a scientist around to figuring out from the Japanese institutes and many of the, even Mercola is now talking about it, how powerful it is to reteach the body for an element that is at the level of going into the mitochondria, going into the cells, to reteach the body what it's also supposed to be doing. So hydrogen is the teacher to the body that often, because of medications, even aspirins, all these things which throw off our fluids, this is almost like you need a master teacher in there for the fluid. So while you're still figuring out yourself and what's going on with you and your relationship, there's some fluidal problems, chemistry problems that are going on inside, and their instructor is hydrogen. And so right away, a complete adaptation to this for something that can be done right now in one city or town or whatever is just visiting the store that actually provides the hydrogen. I think a tank is still $200, but it'll last a long time. And then there's these machines though, but you got to worry about these machines because this is already run through scam phase in the Orient. They had already figured this out over in Asia, and just the benefits of hydrogen and what it can do, all the way to the point where people started manufacturing very cheap $40, $50 machines that actually you'll be in worse condition. You wish you had never tried it at all.
Right.
But the truth to just the hydrogen gas, which you can bubble in water with one of those pumice stones that you would use for micro or nano bubbles that you buy off of Amazon or whatever. They're for fish tanks. You tie that into the tube, put it right into some regular spring water, and thank me later. And then at this point, when you're going to go in there and fix all of this, you have the energy, because literally, if you got to cross sticks, this literally means that you're going to change a hereditary situation. You got to cross sticks. And to cross sticks, you're going to need a motor. Now, the direction that we're all headed to right now in sovereignty, I just use my cells. But if you got to go back and fix something, you're going to need a motor. And so in the mitochondria, the hydrogen gives fuel. It gives direct fuel into the mitochondria. So this also starts turning back the clock. And so also we just in conclusion, we have some stuff that we're researching a few machines to see which ones are still on the level. That jury is still out, but it will be done soon. But I'm already on the benefits, because I literally was in front of, and guys, I've been still on my vegetarian thing for 19 years now, but still holding this framework. And the superhuman body had become a challenge within the last year. Like I even considered, based on how I was feeling energetically, possibly returning back to the flesh. It was a real thought, like it got serious in there. And I said, I saw a blockage in my own mind that was created. That's something like virginity. Like once you stop or never do something, you don't want to do it again. You see what I mean? And that becomes an equal stigma. That could be Ahriman. It could be any kind of darkest creature in your mind if you start doing that. And that could come down to a simple piece of bacon versus a salad. You see what I mean? So I realized that in my life also, I got to the point where I created another dogma that needed to be knocked down. So in that day of the transition point, it was either go back to meat or I was going to get thrown a rope to go higher. I was really on that point. If you bought me some chicken, I would have gone in. I know that's funny, right? But then check this out though. Right then that morning, I got my first video. It came through the Secret Energy help desk. Somebody sent me a video and said, hey, because we have this form people fill out, they want us to feature something on the site. This guy filled out this form and said, hey, check this out. I want you to feature something on the site. So I'm looking at the video, but I'm also working. So I had the video turned down, and I see the guy performing this chemical stuff in the kitchen. And, I'm not a master chemist, but I know my stuff. And I'm looking at him like, this guy's going to kill somebody with whatever he's creating. And I'm kind of laughing about it. And then sure enough, I look down in the comments, and someone in the comments is saying, hey, man, I just need to know what exactly you're saying you're making, because I did what you told me to do in the video and I'm being affected by this, like in a medical way. And I need to tell them what I have, right? So it didn't go well. But what I noticed in the title was it was a title about molecular hydrogen. And I just took that term and I said, why would somebody want to make molecular hydrogen anyway? And I started researching that term, and I immediately came into a new video from Dr. Mercola and a guy named LeBaron, Tyler LeBaron. Okay. And this guy is going in, but from the medical level, about how hydrogen is the biggest thing and was missed. But in a long story short, not only did I find the Japanese institute that has contained all of the research over years to prove what this does for the body, I also was able to come into it in another level of realizing how I ended up missing it. In my research of doing the Aqua machine, we came to a point where we were super distilling water. Like those machines, even in the background of this room, they super distill water. And I got to this point because everybody was on this kick about distilled water and all this kind of stuff. And I kept saying, hey, we need to remineralize water. There's this thing called thirsty water. And this means that when you ultra purify water, it needs minerals. It needs a bond. So if you drink this stuff, just like even distilled water, if you drink it, it does start leaching minerals from your body. But because most people have heavy metal toxins in their body, it's good for them for a while to drink distilled water to pull out all of those heavy minerals. However, once they are depleted of all of the minerals, they need to start kind of administering minerals. Or distilled water is not going to distinguish what minerals it goes for, which was the buffoonery running around the community that, oh no, it only goes after the bad minerals. What? Distilled water doesn't think good or bad. It's going to go right after minerals. So anyway, long story short, what happened is that I got onto ultra purifying this water and realizing you couldn't drink it. And that at a certain stage, you only could drink like a teaspoonful, because if you drank a cup, it would basically suck your stomach inside out. There was an implosion to ultra pure water. And then so I went into some research and figured out, because hydrogen, that water is about to become pure hydrogen at that stage. So it's becoming a fuel. So I miscorrectly assumed that when water gets to that stage and becomes hydrogen, it's like a gasoline then, and it's explosive. Misconception. It's based on how much it is. Hydrogen is highly explosive, but if it's in the low ppm, which is the general stuff you would get from a tank of hydrogen gas, what you would get from a hydrogen water machine, a hydrogen gas breathing machine, in this ppm, it's a fuel for the body. So I just gave you a whole summary, but you asked me directly to give you a real solution for something that is this great. And you got a metaphysical solution. You got a well-balanced in and out of this from the masculine and the feminine perspective of how to really go at this thing with the accuracy and the precision of actually not dealing with this. Because if any of our brothers and sisters are in pain, well, that's what knowledge was for. That's what wisdom was for. We paid already. Mm-hmm. And this is how you still got to, at the end of the day, and I'll just say this, I'm done. You have to call any external eidolons on their promises. Meaning that we paid everything already. There's no more, there's nothing else owed. We go forth here fully mended and healed with tribe. And that's how you demand in your life. That's how you speak in court. Do you understand? Like the only way you get heard in court is when you speak that way. So in the cosmic court, the deity, if you may, must be spoken to that way. Hey, on your promise, on your word, this is my allotment. I'm a noble, perfect health, perfect temple. I've tied my camel down. I'm ready to put my house in order. My house had been set asunder. I was in debt, only a color being referred to as black, white, or brown. But now I am noble. I have a motherland. I speak my mother tongue. So this is, how you would get it whipped up and inside, because that's going deep. That's why honoring, I call it. I don't tend to call it prayer, even though that does have a function. But this is also very important, because it's almost like you're hyping yourself up. It's like you're on your own hype man. It's like, and through the powers and the wealth and the prosperity that's been invested in me and my connection with everything and what belongs to me by truth, by fact of tree being planted to seed to, and then and when you well yourself up with that, that is the force. That is the power. That's actually what they're hoping to remove from the reality is just our ability to create from thin air, massive power. And so, that's what's up. That's what's up.